Welcome to the debauchery.
In this episode, we'll be playing Dave's favorite episodes, Love You to Death and The Motherfucking Virgin.
I'm Dave Jari.
I'm Garrett Quarter.
And this is Criminal as Fuck.
Match is criminal as fuck.
What's good, criminals, debauched, and all you fuckers out there, and welcome to another episode of Criminal AF. You know who this is. I'm Dave Jari, and with me, as always, is the co-host with the most, Garrett Quarter.
How we doing?
We'll jump right into this episode, but first we want to give a shout out to our newest member of the debauched, Gene Nelson. Thank you so much, Gene, for joining our fucked up family. Yesterday we dropped 2 of Garrett's favorite episodes, and today we'll drop 2 of my favorite. Love You to Death, the coerced suicide of Conrad Roy, and the wild brain fucking case of Kevin Davis, the motherfucking virgin. So sit back, kick your feet up, and tell everyone behind you to fuck off. The highway is officially closed because it's time to fuck this episode in the mouth.
This episode is, how should I say?
It's infuriating.
Infuriating.
It makes you actually want to legit kill somebody.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and the worst part is you want to kill somebody, and on top of that, you just want to like reach out to this poor kid.
Right. Like,
this poor boy, just somebody. He needed one person.
One person. Yeah.
One person to know what was going on. I mean, blame the parents, but you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just this story annoys me.
Yeah. So, yeah, you'll know what we mean once we start getting into it. Here's chapter 1.
This is Conrad Henry Roy III reporting about social anxiety. Social anxiety to me is the inability to function properly in a manner that you want to in social situations. And one of the things that I've realized is not all eyes are on you at all times. People don't necessarily judge you, particularly in a situation where you're not feeling very good about yourself. You're making mistakes. Like, people understand that you come across as awkward. They're not going to judge you, make fun of you. Like, that's just who you are as an individual. And the quicker you are to realize who you are, the better. Like, you don't have to be this amazing, like, thought out, drawn out, like, superhero, like Incredible Hulk, Superman. I don't know, the people that are portrayed in the media as like perfect, when they're not perfect. I mean, if you take drugs, serious cocaine, like Bieber, oh my God, he's not perfect. Nobody's perfect. You just have to accept yourself as an individual.
Mental health is a subject that carries a stigma, and it shouldn't. There isn't a person in the world that hasn't experienced some period in their life where they felt a little less than themselves. I'm not ashamed to admit that I have had periods of struggling with my mental health. Most often, you will never know if someone is struggling. People who have dealt with these issues throughout their life have become very keen on how to disguise it. Being told to toughen up, it'll pass, you're overreacting, only hardens your shell and makes it harder for you to let people in, to know what truly is going on through your mind, and in turn, make you feel more and more alone. If there is one message that I can get across when talking about mental health, is it that people need to be more compassionate. In today's world of online trolls, neighbors growing more distant, jobs focusing more on the bottom line, and schools focusing more on reaching state test scores than reaching the hearts and minds of children, people have grown to be desensitized to the basic needs of a person, and that is to be loved and accepted. We need more compassion for each other, especially towards those who you know are struggling, but are too proud or too ashamed to accept it. Assure them you are there if they need you. Reassure them through words and actions. Some people's shells are thicker than others, so it may take time to break through, but don't give up on them. They have been shunned many times before, don't add yourself to the list of people who have given up on them. So be compassionate. It doesn't cost a thing and doesn't take more than a moment of your day. As we will learn in this episode's story, there wasn't much compassion given to the one who needed it the most. In fact, they were encouraged to end their own life, even though deep down inside they were reluctant to take it. The story of Conrad Roy and Michelle Carter struck many throughout New England. Conrad and Michelle both had their time dealing with mental health issues, and what seemed to be a good pairing because they both understood each other turned into something else. We have to ask ourselves, can one person be held responsible for another person taking their own life? The answer, according to the state of Massachusetts, is yes. In an unprecedented case against Michelle Carter beginning in June of 2017, the state of Massachusetts argued that Michelle failed to intercede in the suicide of Conrad Roy, who passed away on July 13, 2014, at the age of 18 from carbon monoxide poisoning. In fact, prosecutors accused Michelle of coercing Conrad into doing the act. The proof, they say, was in a series of text messages and phone calls between Conrad and Michelle, dating as far back as 2012. At first, Michelle Carter would attempt to persuade Conrad into seeking help for his depression. But all of this changed when Michelle began to think it would be beneficial for her if Conrad did kill himself. Why this change of heart? Soon we will discuss how Michelle used Conrad's depression and eventual suicide for her own personal gain, and how even after his death, she kept the charade going for months in a vain attempt to seek sympathy and acceptance from people who she considered friends. While we cannot tell Conrad Roy's story without including the role Michelle Carter played in his life and death, I will attempt to tell this story from the perspective of Conrad Roy. I will also include excerpts of the text messages shared between the two, with Kelly Corder and myself playing the roles of Michelle Carter and Conrad Roy. I will say this again. If you or someone you love is struggling with mental health issues, please seek help through a licensed professional therapist. If you are having thoughts of harming yourself, call your region's emergency service number immediately. Your life matters. Conrad Roy and Michelle Carter met in Naples, Florida in February of 2012. Michelle was visiting her grandparents, while Conrad was visiting his great aunt. They soon discovered that they were both from Massachusetts, less than 40 miles apart, with Conrad living part-time in his mother's home in Fairhaven and his father's home in Mattapoisett, while Michelle lived in Plainville. They spent the rest of their time together in Florida, riding bikes and walking, and by the end of the trip, both had agreed to keep in touch. Over the next 2 years, the two would see each other in person less than 5 times, but they would communicate numerous times a day, via text, phone call, and email. While it's been stated that Conrad never officially called Michelle his girlfriend to his family or friends, toward the end of Conrad's life, Michelle asked if she would be able to call herself his girlfriend after he passed, to which he agreed. Conrad and Michelle's relationship was unorthodox to begin with, but through their communications, they appeared to be in love with each other, or what two teenagers who have never been in love think being in love is. At first, Conrad and Michelle were very open and supportive of each other, and of their respective mental health challenges, and would help steer the other from making drastic decisions that could have a harmful or permanent effect on their life. In 2014, however, Michelle's role in their relationship changed. Rather than trying to dissuade Conrad from taking his life, she began encouraging him. So as we mentioned in the story, that Conrad and Michelle, they met each other down by chance down in Naples, Florida.
Another Florida story.
In February of 2012. Now, they only lived 40 miles apart, but yet they saw each other less than a handful of times over the 2 years that they were quote unquote in the relationship. Now, Conrad, he never went around telling anybody that Michelle was his girlfriend.
Yeah.
But Michelle kind of I guess she kind of saw it a little bit more than he did, or vice versa. I don't know. But
I feel like he had to have thought there was more there.
No, yeah, he did. Yeah.
To confide in her.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well,
as much as he did.
There was a little bit in the couple of years where, he kind of started backing off a little bit, but then got, you know what I mean? It's kind of up and down kind of relationship, you know what I mean? So, but you got to think, you talk to this person pretty much every day, email, phone call, whatever. If you see them less than 5 times in 2 years, what else is going on in your life?
God, wait, you don't remember though, back when you were in 7th, 8th grade, before you, when you had your first girlfriend, but it wasn't your first love, you know what I mean? But you would steal the house phone to talk to him.
No,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They were all that mattered at that point. Right. You had to make sure you were home at 7 to call your girlfriend. Quote on you hung out with. You might have went to the movies twice in the entire time that you were together. You held hands and you thought it was cool. But that's at that point. That's your whole world.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't think they were at the point where they could be dating every day and seeing each other. It was more like.
No, I mean I understand that. But I guess what I'm trying to say is. I'm looking at the end result of the story.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's during this 2-year period, what was he lacking in his personal life? Where he, Michelle basically, what word am I looking for?
Took over.
Dictated.
Yeah.
Everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's the thing. You don't know, if you could have just met him and saw the personality traits,
right.
how he acted in school, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't see those things. You're just hearing and you're like, I kind of get the vibe. He wasn't the most popular kid, wasn't the most, you know what I mean? He had definitely had some self-esteem issues.
Right. He had self-esteem issues, but he actually, in some of the videos that he posted of himself, he actually said that he would learn pop culture because that's what things people were talking about. You know what I mean? He didn't know how to communicate with people. So he would learn all the current events and pop culture and Justin Bieber and all this other kind of stuff. Yeah. Just so he would have something to talk about
converse.
Right. With people his age. He didn't really feel he fit. You know what I mean? Which
probably added to his depression and anxiety too.
Right. Yeah. And it's just there was nobody, there's nobody else. I don't know, maybe I'm getting too far ahead in the story.
Yeah.
I'm getting too far.
We'll save it for the next chapter.
Yeah, that's alcohol talking, sorry. But we'll go ahead and jump into chapter 2.
The hardest thing for me is to be comfortable in my own skin. Now I know. A lot of people tell me that I have a lot going for me. I have to be happy. Well, no, you don't have to be happy. Your happiness comes from what your conscious thoughts and well-being. It's you create your own happiness. And by you creating your own happiness, in a sense, you're in a society where you look at someone better off than you, happier, and you want to be jealous and envious of them. It's just subconscious. You just go, when you're depressed, you just go to place to place. Oh yeah, this guy's happy, you just point out, the obvious. But it's not real.
Michelle Carter was born August 11th, 1996, in Plainville, Massachusetts, to Dale and Gail Carter. She didn't have many friends, and she awkwardly tried to include herself in other girls' lives unsuccessfully. To the adults she interacted with, Michelle appeared to be a normal teen girl. She played softball and was voted most likely to brighten your day by her high school classmates. She would be in pictures, smiling alongside other girls. She was a good student, she was said to be polite, and she seemed outgoing. Almost too much. In reality, her inner thoughts did not match this picture-perfect outward persona. She may have seemed like she had a lot of friends, but none of her relationships were deep or meaningful. She was at best an acquaintance to the ones she considered friends. Dr. Peter Bregan, a psychiatrist who testified in Carter's trial for the defense, even called her desperate. She would incessantly text the friends she did have, making her appear needy, and it pushed girls away. Michelle had this unhealthy obsession with Glee and other teen movies and TV shows. She would quote parts of the show to Conrad about how she loved him. In the show Glee, if you're not familiar, the two main actors were dating on and off screen. The boyfriend died from an overdose in a hotel room. Michelle would quote not only lines from the show, but real things that the actress had said in interviews about the death of her boyfriend. Many would say Michelle didn't really know who she was, and would place herself in the heads of these fictitious characters from these shows and movies. She had no real friends, but these characters did, and she wanted to be just like them. When Conrad and Michelle's relationship started, she would try to stop Conrad from trying to commit suicide. She would tell him that she loved him and had told him not to go through with it. Over time, something changed. Some say it was a change in her psychological medication. She had been on Prozac for years before switching to another antidepressant, Celexa, in April of 2014, 3 months before Conrad's death. These types of drugs can impair judgment, wisdom, understanding, love, and empathy, especially in an adolescent brain. Her defense team said that Michelle was involuntarily intoxicated. They believed that Michelle began to think that she could help Conrad get what he wanted, to die painlessly and get to heaven, and then help his family grieve less by understanding them. This neediness and desperation is what many suspect as a motive for pushing Conrad to commit suicide. She knew she would have attention if her boyfriend died. This theory is in a way tested when Michelle herself told people that her boyfriend had gone missing days before he actually died. She started to get some of the attention that she was craving. So she gets a taste of this attention, and it pushes her even more to make Conrad go through with his suicidal plans. She didn't want to appear to be a liar, after all, and all of that attention felt way too good to let go of. Conrad was born September 12, 1995, to Conrad Roy Jr. and Lynn Roy. He has two younger sisters, Morgan and Camden. His parents separated when he was 16, and it affected him mentally. He tried to please everyone, and he went out of his way to appease both his mother and his father, and set high expectations for himself. He worked with his father, grandfather, and uncle in the family's marine salvage business, Tucker Roy Machine Towing and Salvage. In the spring of 2014, he earned his captain's license from the Northeast Maritime Institute. In the same year, he graduated on the honor roll from Old Rochester Regional High School in Mattapoisett. He was accepted to Fitchburg State University to study business, which he never got to attend. Conrad was a hardworking, intelligent young man, but he was also very sad and depressed. He had attempted suicide multiple times before. He tried in 2012, right after his parents divorced. His father was physically abusive at times, and his grandfather verbally abused him. He struggled with social anxiety and depression and had seen several therapists and counselors. At the age of 17, he was hospitalized for acetaminophen overdose. In interviews with his family, you could tell that he was truly loved and that they miss him terribly. Despite their issues and fighting, they would do anything to have him back. They were so proud of him, and of his grades, and of his becoming a captain so young. His grandfather was bursting with pride and holding back tears, telling the story about how Conrad walked in with his captain's license. If only he knew how much they truly did love him. Conrad tried to get help. He was on the antidepressant citalopram, but there were warnings on the box that it may increase suicidal thoughts in people under 24. This, paired with the text he got from his girlfriend, someone who he loved and thought loved him, pushed him to complete the suicide attempt. So now that we get a better picture of who Michelle was, she was somebody who herself didn't quite fit in, and she tried really hard to fit in. You know what I mean? Like, she tried to create stories about her life that, you know, would seem interesting to other people.
Yeah, compulsive liar.
Lie, yeah.
Lying to start conversations. I've seen it many times.
Right. But that never really goes very far because people around you can see right through it.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, you know, you have that kid in high school and you're like, oh, yeah, I got a girlfriend. She goes to East whatever high school.
East Bay High.
Yeah. East Bay High. What was the name? Some East Bay High. What are their names? Her name is Kelly Kowalski. Kowalski, whatever her name is. But yeah, you know, it's like, yeah, okay, all right, yeah, you got a girlfriend, all right, buddy. Yeah, you got pictures of her? Oh, no, you don't. Okay, all right.
Yeah, I do. There's stock Google images.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, what? You're dating a supermodel?
Yeah. So that's basically how she, you know, is portrayed with people her own age. Now with adults, you know, she's like, well, she's very normal. She's very pleasant. She's very nice, you know, and everything. You know, she played softball. She played sports. You know, she was a good student. She was polite. She was outgoing, all that kind of stuff, you know. But you can start to see where, you know, her perception of how life should be is skewed. You know, she had like an eating disorder. So she was basically perceived herself as something worse than what she actually was.
Yep.
You know.
I feel like, though, all of this is just normal teenager girl stuff, too, though. Like,
no, she actually, like, starts getting lost in, like, a fantasy world. You know, she starts watching TV shows, you know, movies and everything like that. And she gets caught up in the whole romance of it and the fantasy of it.
Yeah, it definitely almost seems like this becomes almost fetishized by her.
Yeah,
that's like the feeling that I get from it.
Right. And like she sees like her favorite show was Glee. No, I don't. Have you ever watched Glee?
A long time ago.
A couple episodes. So I used to have to watch it because my stepdaughters were like obsessed with it. So we'd all sit down and, you know, try to do like the family thing. You know, we'll sit down and watch Glee. You know, wasn't a bad show. I actually kind of liked it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna lie.
The next thing you're gonna tell me is that you used to watch High School Musical, huh?
Bro,
we're all in this together.
Bro, don't knock it.
Oh, I had the biggest crush on Vanessa Hudgens.
But you know what show? Dude,
remember when her nudes leaked? Oh my god! Oh my god! My mind was blown.
How old was she then?
She was over 18. I was like 19 when that came out. I was young. All right, relax.
All right. You know, other movie was Pitch Perfect.
Pitch Perfect was good, though.
Yeah,
it was good.
That was good.
Yeah.
I like that one. I had to sit down and watch that too.
Amazing that a musical show led to basically convincing someone to kill themselves.
I know.
Jeez.
Yeah. So, anyways, all right, back to the story. So, like, she became obsessed with Glee. And if you're not familiar with Glee, basically it has two main characters. One was like a jock. And the other one was like a nerdy, like, music band geek or whatever. And they ended up coming together and forming this whole, like, a cappella, you know, whatever, band or a group. Now, he died in real life.
Yeah.
So
I remember that.
Yeah. He died of a drug overdose. So on the show, they made it out to be this like huge, you know, spectacle or whatever. And
nothing like profiting off of, you know,
somebody's death.
Somebody's death, but yeah.
So they basically focused in on the character of Rachel, who was the girlfriend of Finn, who died. And I mean, this went on for this was like a whole special, you know? So Michelle Carter is seeing this like, oh, well, I have a boyfriend who is struggling.
Yeah.
Now I see all the attention that Rachel is getting.
Yeah.
How can, you know, I can get that attention too, so to speak. You know what I mean?
It's almost like Munchausen syndrome, but without with your boyfriend over,
right.
You know what I mean, your kids.
Exactly. You know, so around late 2013, 2014, she starts changing because at the time she was very helpful to Conrad. You know, Conrad, you know, he struggled with his, depression and everything like that. And she was very supportive. She's like, you know, get help. You know, you need to go to your doctor's appointments. You need to take your medicine, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. Now with Conrad, his parents split up in 2012, right around the time that he met Michelle. So he was, you know, splitting time between both. Now, his father allegedly was very physical with Conrad. And his grandfather was allegedly also very verbally abusive. And now Conrad spent...
That definitely weren't the feelings kind of family. That's right. And that's what he needed. Well,
yeah, because when you look at the family and what they did for a profession, they were basically, they worked out at a boatyard. And they were not scavengers, but refuse... You know, they dealt with basically the underbelly stuff of the shipyard. You know what I mean?
Cutting copper, cutting copper type of people.
Right. So yeah, so Conrad didn't really get much from his father and his grandfather. They loved him, you know, but they're more of like the 70s, 80s kind of love. You know, I love you. Whap. Yeah. Don't fuck up. You know what I mean?
Stop crying. Stop crying.
So Conrad, he couldn't really lean towards that side of the family to help him kind of find his way. But I think it's kind of common for pretty much a lot of people going through high school. You're trying to figure out who you are, what you know, where do you fit in society? You know, I think it's kind of common, regardless of what.
Yeah, your status.
Where you see your status is in high school. You know,
the hierarchy of being a shitty teenager.
Yeah. So, but I'm sure that at some point during those 4 years, whether it's sooner or later, at some point you ask yourself, where do I fit in? Am I going to be good enough? You know, you kind of question. Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, for sure. I agree. I think it doesn't matter what group you're in, what status you're in, where you're sitting at lunch, all that stuff doesn't matter because I think everybody when you're junior year of high school, I wouldn't even say senior because by senior you just kind of start building that plan to know what you're going to do. Yeah. But sophomore, junior year of high school, you're definitely, am I going to make it? What am I going to do? Right. Especially if you were a mess up like me who teachers told was going to amount to nothing in life. You know what I mean?
Because dude, I stayed back my senior year in high school, so
I had to do summer school a couple times. So I definitely had to do summer. I was in trouble a lot, and the teachers, a lot of teachers didn't like me. Not mean trouble. I was conniving. I was So, you know, that definitely creeped in my mind. Yeah. What am I going to just end up?
But I basically what I'm saying is that I can see how, you know, somebody during those years, you know, where it could go, they can kind of get stuck in that mind frame. Yeah. You know?
Yeah, especially if you're eating lunch alone. Yeah. You know what I mean? You have nobody close besides this girl who's texting you every now and again.
Right. So he struggled throughout high school and he was diagnosed with social anxiety and depression. And, you know, he went through numerous therapists and counselors and whatnot. And
multiple suicide attempts too.
Yeah. Now, the thing that stood out to me, and we kind of talked about this earlier, was he let out a huge cry for help when he, quote unquote, tried to overdose on
Tylenol.
Basically aspirin, Tylenol. Yeah. And this was a year prior to him actually going through with it.
You know what's crazy too is I think a lot of people, even like the listeners at home, because I know at least 2 people that I went to high school with tried to OD on Tylenol. You know what I mean? It's a very common cry for help. It's not the way, like whenever you heard people commit suicide, you know, I don't want to talk about that really that much because it's a very touchy subject, especially if listeners have anybody.
Right.
But usually the first step is a pill overdose, and it's a cry for help. So that right there should have showed that he was at least serious about. Right. You know what I mean?
So now Michelle sees that, because this was like halfway through their relationship. So this was the attempted suicide was on 2013. So now I think after this, Michelle starts to see, ooh, he kind of like really,
he could do this.
He could do this.
Yeah.
And then coincide with her whatever, this fantasy that she has in her head that, you know, she's going to be whisked away with all these friends and everything if her boyfriend passes away. I think this is like around a time where she's trying to kind of transitions from being like the supportive quote unquote girlfriend to let's see how I can play this in my favor kind of thing. You know what I mean? So next thing we're going to take a look at is a intimate look into the relationship between Conrad and Michelle through a series of text messages, and how you could see how Michelle is now trying to persuade Conrad into ending his life rather than trying to help him here in chapter 3.
I am who I am. Yes, I can develop as a person, be more fluent, articulate, passionate about who I am. Or I can just go home, sit in my basement, and just do nothing about it. Just sit in my sorrows, weep and cry over something that is in the past. Or I can just take it day by day, step by step. I mean, it's going to be difficult to accomplish. But I need to, for personal growth, accomplish this sense of self-pride in myself.
There are thousands of text messages between Michelle and Conrad leading up to Conrad's death. I will provide some of these text messages so you can understand the relationship between these 2 young people. Once again, Kelly Corder and myself are playing the roles of Michelle Carter and Conrad Roy. Before we continue, if you or someone you love is listening to this episode and have or currently are struggling with your mental health, I advise you to please skip through these text messages. These texts begin on July 5th, 8 days before Conrad took his life. Hi.
Hi.
What's up?
Just woke up. You? Why do you seem happy?
Because tonight's the night.
You said that last night and the night before.
I know, but it has to happen tonight. I'll be all alone. Mom and Brian are sleeping over at a friend's house in Rhode Island.
So, yeah, tonight seems like the perfect night. Like you have all night to try different things.
Yes.
Do you think tonight really is the night you're going to do it?
I think.
There's a difference between saying I'm going to try to commit suicide and I am going to commit suicide.
Well, I'm going to try.
So you don't want it bad enough. You already know you're going to fail because part of you wants to fail. Just saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
It's just hard, Michelle.
I know it is.
In the few days leading to Conrad Roy taking his life, the following messages were also exchanged between him and Michelle.
I think your parents know you're in a really bad place. I'm not saying they want you to do it, but honestly, I feel like they can accept it. They know there's nothing they can do. They've tried helping. Everyone's tried. But there's a point that comes to where there isn't anything anyone can do to save you, not even yourself. And you've hit that point, and I think your parents know that you've hit that point. You said your mom saw a suicide thing on your computer, and she didn't say anything. I think she knows that's on your mind, and she's prepared for it. Everyone will be sad for a while, but they'll get over it and move on. They won't be in depression. I won't let that happen. They know how sad you are, and they know that you're doing this to be happy, and I think that they will understand and accept it. They will always carry you in their hearts.
Oh, thank you, Michelle.
They will move on for you because they know that's what you would have wanted. They know you wouldn't want them to be sad and depressed and angry and guilty. They know you want them to live their lives and be happy. So they will for you. You're right. You need to stop thinking about this and just do it, because overthinking always kills overthinking.
Yeah, it does. I've been thinking about it for way too long.
Always smile. And yeah, you just have to do it. You have everything you need. There's no way you can feel. Tonight is the night. It's now or never. And if you don't think about it, you won't think about failing. You'll just do it and then think you'll succeed.
That's what I'm talking about. I read so much about failed attempts going wrong that it's gotten me discouraged.
Yeah, exactly. So stop doing that. There is more success than there are failures.
Are you kidding me?
You have to look at it the way that people only fail because they have the same mindset as you, thinking they'll fail.
I really want to believe you.
Why don't you? You can't think about it. You just have to do it. You said you were going to do it. Like, I don't get why you aren't.
I don't get it either. I don't know.
So I guess you just aren't going to do it then. All that for nothing. I'm just confused. Like you were so ready and determined.
I'm going to eventually. I really don't know what I'm waiting for, but I have everything lined up.
Well, I guess just because you say you're going to do it, but you don't. But last night, I know you really wanted to do it, and I'm not mad. Well, I mean, kind of, I guess. Just because you always say you're going to do it. But you don't. But last night, I knew you really wanted to, and I'm not mad. You're not joking about this or bullshitting me, right? I just want to make sure that you're being serious. Like, I know you are, but I don't know. You always say you're going to do it, but you never do. I just want to make sure tonight's the real thing. Don't do it in the driveway. You'll be easily found. Find a spot.
I don't know. I'm thinking of a public place. If I go somewhere private, they may call the cops.
Well, then someone will notice you. Do you think you'll get caught? I mean, it only takes 30 minutes, right? Just park your car and sit there. It'll take like 20 minutes. It's not even a big deal.
July 13th, 2014. The day of Conrad's suicide. Michelle begins texting at 4:07 a.m.
Conrad. Hey, you there?
Hey, sorry, I fell asleep.
It's okay. Why haven't you done it yet, though?
I'm too messed up to.
What are you talking about?
My head.
You can't think about it. You just have to do it. You said you were going to do it. Like, I don't get why you aren't.
I don't get it either. I don't know.
So I guess you just aren't going to do it then. All that for nothing. I'm just confused. Like, you were so ready and determined.
I'm going to eventually. I really don't know what I'm waiting for, but I have everything lined up.
No, you're not, Conrad. Last night was it. You kept pushing it off and saying that you'll do it, but you'll never do. It's always going to be that way if you don't take action. You're just making it harder on yourself by pushing it off. You just have to do it. Do you want to do it now?
Is it too late? I don't know. It's already late outside. I'm going to go back to sleep. Love you. I'll text you tomorrow.
No, it's probably the best time now because everyone's sleeping. Just go somewhere in your truck. And no one's really out right now just because it's an awkward time. If you don't do it now, you're never going to do it. And you say you'll do it tonight, but you probably won't. Love you.
Thank you.
Conrad Roy falls asleep. 5 hours later, at 9:03 a.m., Michelle picks the conversation back up.
Are you awake?
Yes.
Are you going to do it today?
Yes.
Like, in the daytime?
Should I?
Yeah, it's less suspicious. You won't think about it as much, and you'll get it over with instead of waiting until the night.
Yeah, then I will. But, like, where? Like, I could go in any enclosed area.
Go in your truck and drive in a parking lot somewhere, to park or something. Do it now, like early.
Didn't we say this was suspicious?
No, I think night is more suspicious. A kid sitting in his car, just turn on the radio and do it. It won't be suspicious. It won't take long.
All right. I'm taking Holly for a walk.
Okay.
I don't know why I'm like this.
Sometimes things happen, and we never have the answers why.
Like, why am I so hesitant lately? Like 2 weeks ago, I was willing to try everything, and now I'm worse, like really bad. And I'm not following through. It's eating me inside.
You're so hesitant because you keep overthinking it and pushing it off. You need to just do it, Conrad. The more you push it off, the more it will eat at you. You're ready and prepared. All you have to do is turn the generator on, be free and happy. No more pushing it off, no more waiting.
You're right.
If you want it as bad as you say you do, it's time to do it today.
Yep, no more waiting.
Okay, I'm serious. Like, you can't even wait until tonight. You have to do it when you get back from your walk.
Thank you.
For what?
Still being here.
I would never leave you. You're the love of my life, my boyfriend, my heart. I'd never leave you.
Aw.
I love you.
Love you too.
When will you be back from your walk?
Like 5 minutes.
Okay, so are you going to do it?
I guess.
Well, I want you to be ready and sure.
I don't know. I'm freaking out again. I'm overthinking.
I thought you wanted to do this. This time is right, and you're ready. You just need to do it. You can't keep living this way. You just need to do it like you did last time, and not think about it, and just do it, babe. You can't keep doing this every day.
I do want to, but like I'm freaking out for my family, I guess. I don't know.
Conrad, I told you, I'll take care of them. Everyone will take care of them and make sure they won't be alone, and people will help them get through it. We talked about this. They will be okay and accept it. People who commit suicide don't just think this much. They just do it.
I know. Thinking just drives me more crazy.
Exactly. You need to just do it, Conrad. You can't keep doing this every day.
Okay, I'm going to do it today.
Do you promise?
I promise, babe. I have to now.
Like right now?
Where do I go?
You can't break a promise. And just go in a quiet parking lot or something.
Okay.
Go somewhere you know you won't get caught. You can find a place. I know you can. Are you doing it now?
Still have no clue.
Not finding a place to go isn't an excuse.
I know where to go.
Where?
A park and ride.
Ride?
That's what it's called. It's like a parking lot.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Are you going now?
Either that or go to the beach.
Why would you go to the beach?
Well, that's where my mom's going.
I thought you were just gonna do it.
My mom's making me go. When I get home, I'm going to do it.
Okay, promise? I'm going kayaking anyways.
Ha, you love kayaking.
Yep, so something I wish we could have done.
Make sure you take your son kayaking.
Of course I will.
I'm in the worst pain right now. Like, it's unbearable.
I think it's time to do it now then. Do you agree? Conrad? Please answer me.
I'm still at the beach.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I'm determined.
I'm happy to hear that.
I'm ready.
Good, because it's time, babe. You know that. When you get back from the beach, you gotta do it. You're ready. You're determined. It's the best time.
Okay, I will.
Are you back?
No more thinking.
Yes, no more thinking. You just need to do it. No more waiting.
On my way back. I know where to go now.
Where?
A parking lot. There's going to be no cars there at 9, so that's when I'll be found.
Okay, perfect. When will you be home?
10 minutes?
That's perfect.
Okay. And, well, yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't want to kill anyone else with me.
You won't.
Well, when they open the door, they won't know it's odorless and colorless.
You're overturning. They will see the generator and realize you breathed in the CO.
So, should I keep it in the back seat or front?
In front. You can write it on a piece of paper and tape it on, saying carbon monoxide or something if you're scared.
I was thinking that, but someone might see it before it actually happens.
Well, wait, the generator is going to be on because you'll be passed out, so they'll know you use carbon poisoning. It's not loud, is it?
Not really.
Okay, good. Are you going to do it now?
I'm home.
Okay. What?
I don't know. I'm stressing.
You're fine. It's going to be okay. You just got to do it, babe. You can't think about it.
Okay, I got this.
Yes, you do. I believe in you. Did you delete the messages?
Yes, but you're going to keep messaging me.
I will until you turn on the generator.
Okay, well, I'm bringing my sisters for ice cream.
So will you do it when you get back?
Yep, I'll go right there.
Okay.
Okay, I'm procrastinating.
Yeah, I know. Are you back?
Yep.
So it's time.
Oh, it's bedtime.
Are you going to do it now?
I just don't know how to leave them, you know?
Just say you're going to the store or something.
Like, I want them to know that I love them.
They know. That's one thing they definitely know. You're overthinking.
I know I'm overthinking. I've been overthinking for a while now.
I know. You just have to do it like you said. Are you going to do it now?
I haven't left yet.
Why?
Leaving now.
Okay. You can do this.
Okay, I'm almost there. July 13th, 2014, 6:25 p.m. This was the last text message before Conrad took his life. There were 2 phone calls that were placed after these texts. The first, Conrad and Michelle spoke for 43 minutes, presumably once Conrad gets to the back parking lot of the Kmart in Fairhaven and prepares for his suicide. The second call was 46 minutes where Conrad starts to freak out once he feels the carbon monoxide poisoning taking effect. He gets out of the truck. This, according to the state of Massachusetts, is when Michelle Carter tells Conrad Roy to get back in the truck and end his life. She stays on the phone and listens to Conrad take his last breath, dying from carbon monoxide poisoning. 3 hours later, she sends the following text messages to him, presumably to cover her tracks, knowing full well Conrad is dead.
Please answer me. I'm scared. Are you okay? I love you. Please answer.
Conrad needed someone to help him, to tell him not to go through with it, to tell him that he is loved, to tell him that his life matters. Sadly, the only person Conrad felt he had was Michelle, the one who was encouraging him to get back in the truck to finish the job. She could have stopped him, but she didn't, and she stayed on the phone to make sure he went through with it.
Such a hard chapter, man. Such a hard chapter. God, the amount of cries for help he even says in the text message with the person who's trying to persuade him to do it is it's infuriating. Like this is where I would throw Michelle off a bridge, like, and wouldn't care at all.
Throwing off a bridge is a good way of putting it. Yes,
and from a parent's standpoint, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart because it's like, dude. He like you said at the end of the chapter, he only needed someone to tell him he was loved. Mm-hmm. That was it.
Yep.
That was it.
Now, I kind of associate this to an extreme version of bullying. Okay.
Yeah, I would say.
Where I absolutely despise bullying. Like, anytime I see a video or anything of someone bullying, like, I want that person dead.
How were you?
Know what I mean?
How were you growing up, though?
I went.
I'm not saying were you a bully. I'm saying like if you saw bullying in school or be like as young Davy.
Young Davy. Well,
did you stop it? Were you? Because I mean, I'll be honest. I always just turned a cheek. You know what I mean? I wasn't the guy who.
All right. Well,
got in.
This is where the alcohol probably shouldn't be a part of this podcast, because when you ask me questions like this, you're going to be opening up a bucket of fucking worms, yeah? So Davy lived multiple lives when he was a child.
Oh, okay, so you were Ted Bundying it through life right now.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So Davey, when he was younger, would wear hand-me-down clothes and was not part of the cool kids. So young Davey would get bullied a lot. It wasn't until probably 7th, 8th grade where
you got your growth spurt.
Davey began to play football and made some changes in his life and was now accepted. Okay. So I've been on both ends of the spectrum where I have been bullied and I've seen bullying outside of myself. And every single time, yes, I would stop it. Long answer to a short question.
No, I mean, hey, it's insight in young Davey's life.
So it's just like kind of like when I see a bully, like there's a serious like fucking hate that I feel for that person. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I regret. Like you always, everybody looks back and regrets certain situations. Yeah. I was never a bully. I didn't bully people, but it was more like I never. It's none of your business. It was more like not my business. Just kept walking. Right. That's how I went. That's how I made it through high school. You know what I mean? Not my business. You know what I mean? I'm on my own path. Sorry, buddy. And I regret it. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I saw there's everybody sees some messed up stuff. Right. Young.
Now when you put that in the context of when I say bully, now in this case Michelle, she knows I don't want to say she knows that she's doing wrong because I don't think she knew that she was doing wrong.
She had to have known.
I think she was, what is it? What is it called? Dysphoria? Is it dysphoria where
just not connected?
You're not connected to the situation, And to me, she is the bully. She's pressuring him. She's I don't know, because there's
it wasn't even, it was aggressively pressuring.
Right.
Aggressively.
Right. And he is
Conrad. Yup. You do it. You thinking about it? Stop basically saying I'm topping a pussy.
Yeah. Like
fucking
bitch, leave me the fuck alone.
Hell.
Like shit. Now, like reading through these things, it just angers me because he's like, oh, I don't know if I want to,
Yeah.
And she's like, well, you said you were gonna do it. You're never gonna do it. And she starts fucking nagging. He's like, well, yeah, I will do it. No, whatever. You said that yesterday.
Stop being a fucking liar.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, I want to punch her square in her fucking unibrow. Fuck.
She does have a unibrow.
She's fucking ugly as fuck. But anyway. No, fuck her. Fuck her.
Yes.
And the thing that like drives me fucking insane, and this is like the key to the whole fucking thing, and God, I wish I could go back in time and I wish I could be there in that situation, is when he gets out of the truck and he panics. And she's on the phone with him at the time.
Yeah.
And she's like, get back in the truck.
Oh.
Get back in the truck. Like right there, regardless of talking about it. Yes, I want to kill myself. Yes, I want to do this. Yes, I want to do this. Yes. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I'm going to like that. That's all one thing. That's whatever. Okay. That's obviously an issue. You need to take care of it. When you are doing it and you back out of it, like that tells you he does not want to fuck. Deep down inside, he does not want to die.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
For sure.
He's crying for help. Yep. He needs help. And this fucking bitch is on the phone. Get back in the fucking truck, Conrad.
Yeah.
Get back in the fucking truck. Oh my God. I want to stab her square in the fucking eyeball.
Yeah. And I think that, definitely a shout out to everybody who's listening and all that stuff. If you're feeling something, if you're going through some shit, doesn't matter. Don't ever rely on one person.
No.
Seek help.
Yep.
Call a hotline. Do whatever you need to do at that point because you are loved. Mm-hmm. You're wanted.
Yes, 100%.
And if it doesn't feel like it,
I can tell you, I've lost people that way, and there is an enormous void that will never be filled again.
Yeah.
Like.
I think that's the hardest part. You think that you're doing people a favor at that point. And you're
like,
not.
I'm just a burden.
Yeah. And it's so sad because you're not a burden.
Nope.
So at this point, she's completely complacent in his death.
Yes.
100%. I don't. There's no backing out. You have contributed to his suicide.
Yes. Yep. And so now in the next chapter, we will see what the state of Massachusetts feels about Michelle and her text messages to Conrad.
What I am doing is I'm looking at myself so negatively. Looking at myself, minuscule little particle in the face of this earth. It's no good. Trash. Will never be successful. Never have a life. Never have kids. Never learn. Because depression can mean you don't like yourself. And the sooner I like myself, the better I'm going to be. Like, I have a lot going. I do have a lot going for me. Like, I'm like a captain. I just got a job from the Boston Duck Tours to captain their boat. Like, that's a huge accomplishment. To be a captain. Listen, I just have to get the cobwebs out. Turn the gears. The gears need to be turning. Turn them gears. That's what I gotta do. Cause look at me. I got nice teeth. I got a nice smile. I'm introverted. Nice and caring. That's some benefits. I'm a nice kid. I have a lot to offer someone. But it comes to a point where I'm just too nice.
Why did Michelle demand that Conrad take his life? Attention. Michelle posted many times on Facebook about how her boyfriend had committed suicide. She posted about how she missed him. She started a baseball fundraiser in Conrad's name, in her hometown, 40 minutes away from where Conrad lived. Many believe this fundraiser should have been held in Conrad's hometown, so it would be easier for his family and friends to attend. Michelle argued against it. Not long after Conrad's death, the police went through his phone and saw almost immediately the text from Michelle. These text messages disturbed the investigators. It was soon after that investigators obtained a search warrant. They visited Michelle at school and took her phone. In 2015, she was arrested and charged with involuntary manslaughter, and her trial began 2 years later in 2017. Her defense talked a lot about her med change and how that affected her. They said it clouded her brain and she was enmeshed in a delusion. She was unable to form intent because she was so grandiose, Dr. Bregan testified. He tried to show that his suicide made her snap to reality, even if only briefly. She texted Conrad a day after the suicide saying, "Did you do something? Conrad, I love you so much. Please tell me this is a joke. I'm sorry, I didn't think you were being serious, Conrad. Please don't leave us like this." 2 months later, she also texted Conrad to tell him that she raised $2,300 from the baseball fundraiser she put together. Dr. Bregan stated that she imagines him looking down upon her. Could her medication really cloud her judgment that much? Or is she texting these things after the fact to try to save face and aid in her trial? It's hard to say. Psychological medications are powerful, but at some point, doesn't some part of her brain kick in and make her question her words, the way she is behaving? Some could also argue that being a mostly online relationship, Michelle could have viewed Conrad as some character from one of her movies, that he wasn't real and that she was playing a part and didn't realize the weight that her words held. They had only met 5 times in the 2 years they had been a couple. Conrad's family didn't even know they were dating. They just thought they were friends because they never saw each other. On June 5th, 2017, Michelle Carter waived the right to have a trial by jury. Judge Lawrence Moniz is to be the one to decide Michelle's future. On June 16th, 2017, Michelle Carter was found guilty of involuntary manslaughter. He described her behavior as reckless. She was sentenced to 2.5 years in prison, with 15 months served and the rest suspended. She was also sentenced to 5 years probation. After nearly 2 years of unsuccessful court appeals, Carter began her sentence in 2019. And in January 2020, she was released early from prison for good behavior. She had been a model inmate who stayed out of trouble and that she participated in jail programs. She was a part of the Bible study, and she worked in the kitchen where she got along with all of the inmates. Michelle's attorney says that she is remorseful and that she has come to grips with it and that she understands. She has declined to speak to any media and never spoke or testified in her trial, so we've never heard her part of the story in her own words. For Conrad Roy, he had so much going for him. He was determined and motivated. He had a family that loved him. He could have had a great life, but we, or his family, will never see that happen. His life was cut short, long before it should have been. He will be deeply missed for the rest of his family's life. It's sad, but when a person is depressed, they don't see the good, or they see the good as not good enough. The sadness, emptiness, loneliness outweighs any of the good. People try to reassure you, to tell you they love you, to tell you that they wouldn't want to live without you, but your pain is too heavy. So when someone you love, and that is supposed to love you, eggs you on in these fragile moments, it just confirms your negative thoughts. You're drowning already, and instead of throwing you a life vest, they step on your head to push you under even more. Michelle may not have physically killed Conrad, but she didn't throw him a life vest either. That is not love. Conrad deserved love. Michelle was living in a fantasy, and Conrad was just playing a role. Yes, her meds could have played a huge part. Her delusions and intoxication. There could have been small moments of clarity where she could have told his mother or sister what was happening. She pushed him and pushed him to follow through with ending his life. No person with a conscience does that. Even Dr. Bregan was dumbfounded as to why she acted the way she did. Her own doctor. Conrad will never get to tell his side of the story, but we can learn from it and try to prevent it from happening again. His mother, Lynn, resolved to change the law. In most states, there are statutes to criminalize suicide coercion. Massachusetts is not one of those states. Lynn proposed legislation dubbed Conrad's Law. It would impose a punishment of up to 5 years for anyone convicted of pressuring another to take their own life. She hopes that this law will act as a deterrent to prevent another person from losing their life. Everything that Conrad Roy ever was, or ever will be, is lost. If you or someone you know is thinking about taking their own life, you are not alone. In the United States, the National Suicide Prevention Hotline, 1-800-273-TALK. That's 1-800-273-8255. The Trevor Helpline, support designed for lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender youth and young adults. 866-4U-TREVOR. That's 866-488-7386.
All right, I got to start off with 2.5 years for manslaughter. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
It's disgusting. She deserves so much more. She might as well put him, you know what I mean? She might as well have put him in that car and...
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Drove him,
held him there.
Held him
at
there.
gunpoint.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's sickening. And getting out on good behavior, it's like that horrible story that you hear so often where they don't deserve. Of course, she was a model inmate,
right.
Bible study and this and that. Like, you know she was going to be like that. Anything she could to get out of there.
Absolutely. Yep. Now, the thing that kind of stands out to me, and it's a quote that I believe Conrad's aunt had made. And she had said that Michelle Carter did not take part in Conrad's death. She was the sole reason, which I mean, I'm not taking away, I'm not saying that he didn't have his issues or whatnot, but she 100% spearheaded this. Yeah. When there were numerous times in all those conversations where, he was like, well, I don't know, I'm worried about my parents. I'm worried about this. What if I, whatever. Normal person would be like, yeah, you're right. Your parents love you. Your parents are going to miss you. Your parents, and she's like, no, your parents will be fine. They'll be all right.
How do you feel about the defense's strategy to get her manslaughter by saying that the medication was the reason this happened? And you got to love lawyers. They're such, especially defense lawyers. They'll find a needle in a haystack. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, come on, man.
Yeah. No, I don't believe it. I don't buy into any of that.
Yeah.
I mean, did she have her own issues? Absolutely.
Sure.
She did. But
being on Prozac doesn't convince you to kill, have you convince someone to kill themselves.
Right. So I mean, what word am I looking for? I think I mentioned it before, like a dysphoria, between reality and, whatever fucking made up world you have in your head, like she was, I'm not saying it was a fucking medication or whatever, which I don't know. She thought that, no, I don't want to say that because it's actually giving her an excuse.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how did the police, did they go through Conrad's phone? How did they get to Michelle?
Pulling the records, you're saying?
You're right. Now, I'm sure at some point during the conversation, she's like, get back in the truck, Conrad. Make sure you get back in the truck. And delete your text messages, please. Yeah. Before you die, just delete your text messages. So I wonder if there were still some messages left on his phone.
Yeah, there could have been something. There had to have been something on the phone that triggered them to be like, whoa. Yeah. Like even back past previous conversations or something.
Right.
That made them go, whoa.
Yeah.
And pulled the full transcript.
Pulled the whole thing, yeah. Yeah. Because she, after he did it, she was on the phone with him when he died. He took his last breath. She knew he was dead.
Yep.
And then, a minute later, she was like, text me. I miss you. I love you. Please text me. Pretending like she didn't know what the fuck was going on. And
is this a joke?
Yeah. And then, the next day, she's like, Conrad, did you do something? Conrad, I love you so much. Please tell me this is a joke. I'm so sorry. I didn't think you were serious about killing yourself, Conrad. Please don't leave us like this. Bitch, shut the fuck up.
Yeah, stop trying to save your ass.
No offense to the other bitches out there, but no, just kidding. But you see,
sexy bitches.
Yeah, sexy motherfuckers. But you know what I mean? It's like she kept up this charade for months. Yeah. Months. Having a fucking...
And then having a charity baseball tournament in her town.
Her town.
not his.
Her town.
Yeah. Talk about selfish.
Yeah. And they're like, wouldn't it make sense to have it in his town where all his family and friends? No. Be right here. Make sure you guys all help me plan it.
Yeah, the posts on social media. Yeah. Like she wasn't directly involved in this.
Right.
It's almost like it's like sociopath.
Right.
Like she clearly shows tendencies of being a sociopath.
she texted one of her friends, I think I may have had a part in Conrad's death. You think you may have? You drove him to it. Fuck.
Now that's interesting because is there another charge other than manslaughter that you could give for a situation? Like I feel like this is very...
Well, this is like the first.
That's what I mean. It's a very groundbreaking criminal case at this point. Because at this point, I mean, there's a lot of... We hear stories about cyberbullying and people like kids committing themselves because of... kids committing suicide because of cyberbullying and you know what I mean? Kids online bullying them. But they don't die because of a specific person is telling them to. They say like a random friend might be like, yo, go kill yourself. You know what I mean? Like
this guy, But
there's not, it's like this, there's a connection to this one person just egging and egging.
Someone who Conrad looked at as someone who loved him,
Yeah.
And, this isn't like some vicious person that, is beating the shit out of somebody every single day. Conrad didn't
It's someone that you trust.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Someone that you can find in. You're talking to him about suicide, which is, not easy to do in general.
Right.
Because in my eyes, it's not manslaughter. It's not murder, but it's not manslaughter. It's a weird in between. It's a gray area.
It's a weird in between, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
because it wasn't accidental.
No, this was actually, it was done intentionally.
Oh, yeah.
She basically put the idea in his head, but I think where the debate came from, as far as what to charge her with, is that Conrad already showed a history.
That didn't help him in the court of law,
right?
By any means. And the defense leaned on that heavy,
right? So I don't know. I think it's definitely more than manslaughter. We need Follow Flayton over there on Instagram to give us some legal advice on what this would be.
Yeah. Yeah, I just know in my deep heart.
It's definitely more than manslaughter, I would say. But that's what you got, and that's the way it stands. That's the precedent.
Yeah, so. Anybody who knows, let's open it up. Open a poll. Comment on the episode. Yep. Talk to us on Patreon. What is your take? Do you think it was well deserved? Murder 1, murder 2, murder 3, manslaughter? I don't know.
I don't know either. But she definitely deserved something, and she got it. Probably not what she deserved. What was it? A year and a half? She was in jail.
Yes.
With good behavior?
With good behavior, yeah. 2.5 year sentence.
Well, that was another tough one. But to lighten the mood, if there is such a thing as lightening the mood in true crime, next up is the motherfucking virgin.
All right, this is the case of a motherfucking virgin. No,
the pun on that is great.
Yeah. So he was a virgin who lost his virginity to his mother's dead corpse.
Literally, a mother.
He's a motherfucking virgin. Yeah. I came up with that all by myself.
Dude, genius.
All right, but this isn't the only fucked up thing that happened on this day. So here we go. Here's the story. So on March 26, 2014, at 7 p.m., an 18-year-old young man from Corpus Christi, Texas, named Kevin Davis, left several scribbled notes in his mother's apartment before hopping on his bicycle with a plan to run away. He rode his bike through the night along the railroad tracks for approximately 10 miles when he dumped his bike and backpack in some brush along the tracks. He walked another 10 miles to the town of Robstown, where he decided he didn't want to run away anymore.
Don't all kids go through that one time?
Yeah.
You tell your mom, hey, fuck you, I'm gonna run away.
Yeah.
You pack a bag and then you walk down the street and turn right back around. I mean, I've done that a couple times. So.
Yeah. Well, when I was a kid, obviously we just talked about our ages and shit. But when I was a kid, we did the typical hobo stick. The hobo stick tied to the with your clothes. And I must have ran away from home like 2 times.
Fine, Mom.
I made it to the corner and I sat there, waited for somebody to come chase me down. Nobody came, and I'm like, God damn, well, I guess I'll go back then. Fuck.
Yeah, because your mom the whole time is go.
Yeah, see you later.
She knows you're going to come right back. Like, where are you going?
What do you think? There's no way you're going to go. Yeah. All right, so about 10 a.m. the next day, on March 27th, this young man, Kevin Davis, he walked to a random house located on the 3800 block of County Road 61. A man by the name of Timothy Johnson and his wife had just let their dog inside and sat down to watch TV when they heard a knock on their door. Johnson got up to answer and saw Davis standing outside. Now, Davis had asked to use the phone. Obviously, you have to be a bit cautious, when there's a random man standing outside your home.
Yeah, I'm not answering that door.
Yeah.
I'm talking to him through the ring.
Well, this is 2014.
I know.
So.
God, thank God for technology.
I know.
Imagine you had to answer the door back in the day. Fuck,
God forbid. Like, I hide behind my couch when somebody comes to my door.
I still do that. I still do that as a grown adult.
I know.
I just wait for him to go away.
I stand still. They can't see me. I'm standing still. But anyway, some random dude walks up to your house. I mean, I'll call someone for you. Yep. You're not gonna come into my house. So Johnson was like, yeah, who can I call for you? And Davis was like, can you call the police? I have committed a murder.
Holy shit.
Yeah. So Johnson's wife immediately called 911 to report the situation to the Nueces County Sheriff's deputy, who was dispatched to the home. Now, while they were waiting for the police, Johnson stepped outside. Dude, this dude has brass fucking balls, dude.
Yeah.
And asked Davis again what had occurred, not believing him at first. And Davis replied, I killed my mother with a hammer. I beat her to death. So he continues to tell the guy that, he ran away and he rode on his bike on the railroad tracks along Highway 44. He told Johnson that he ditched his bike during the night and walked the rest of the way. He got tired of running, so he found the first house with their door open.
Jesus.
Timothy Johnson would typically not be home at this time. He would be at work. This is during the day, 10 a.m. This day in particular, he decided to take the day off to spend with his wife. Otherwise, it just would have been her home alone. Now, it's kind of scary to think that if the husband wasn't home...
Yeah, there's always that what if. If he was still in that mood.
Right. So, if Davis, showed up and it wasn't Timothy Johnson, it was his wife,
Does that whole interaction go differently?
Right. But now he saw Timothy and he's like, oh, you're a guy. I'm backing down, kind of thing.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, because, Kevin Davis, he's not an imposing man. I mean, he's 18 at the time, kind of shortish, skinny, not very imposing, So if we'll listen to bits of the interview coming up, but, he sounds like a decent young man, you know what I mean? So who knows?
Well, he had to have given off a non-threatening vibe if he went outside to talk to him.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So the sheriff's deputy arrives, and Davis confirmed what he told the homeowner, and he gave the address of his mother's apartment at Windrush Apartments. Davis was detained while officers rushed to 4322 Costa Riz Road, apartment 1707 in Corpus Christi to check on his mother, 50-year-old Kimberly Hill. Now, the door to the apartment was locked, so they had the manager open the door, and when they go inside, it was a fucking bloodbath, okay? They found Kimberly Hill's bludgeoned body, naked from the waist down, laying in her bedroom with a bloody hammer on the floor beside her.
Saying earlier, you talked to some people, you want to get some stuff off your chest. We're here to listen to you.
Why are you here? What happened?
Tell us what happened.
Well, has anybody gone to the house yet? Do you really?
We know what happened. We have, but we want to hear it from you.
Or we have an idea. You're the only one that can tell us.
He's like, have you been to the
Start
house
at the
yet?
beginning, man. What caused all this? Well, the very beginning. I asked my mother for permission to die, or rather commit suicide.
A Mortal Kombat fan.
Sort of beating around the bush sort of thing. Because, well, that doesn't really matter why I wanted to kill myself.
Sure it does.
I'm bored with life. I don't like life. I don't like people. I don't like living it, basically. There's really anything depressing about it. It just is what it is. And so, I wrote the note. I did.
When did you write the note?
Around 7-ish.
Today or yesterday?
Yesterday.
All right, so now the notes that Davis is talking about, he left behind several notes, I believe 3 or more. And the one they're talking about in particular is one that stated, "Chase me, sorry for the mess, KD."
Sorry for the mess is such a condescending
end
of sorry for the mess.
Oh, well.
You're emphasizing, he's proud of how he bludgeoned her body.
Yeah.
He's proud of it. And that right there shows intent to a full degree.
Right. So now, Kevin Davis, he was born in December 27th, 1995, but there's not much known about his childhood. He obviously harbored, psychopathic and antisocial tendencies, because as we'll learn, he has zero empathy for what he did. And he'll claim that he felt bad, but his actions, they tell another story. So Davis will claim that the years leading up to this moment, he had become bored with life and that he didn't like anyone or anything about his life. So for whatever reason, he decided to tell his mother that he was going to kill himself, as he stated in the clip. Her response was, well, I'll be sad, but there's nothing I can do to stop you. You're an adult, So, I mean, that's kind of rough coming from a parent, but I mean, we talked a little bit about this before. It's how many times did he come up and say he was going to do this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When if you're kids and they come up and they tell you the same thing 87 times, you're just yeah. By 87, you're just whatever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I mean, that's the only way I could put her response into some sort of rational
and this individual Kevin definitely seems like he's done this once or twice too.
Right.
So I can
woe is me.
Yeah.
I'm fucking.
I don't like people. I don't like the world.
You know, but I mean, just looking at it, you know, just hearing a little bit about him and stuff like that. I mean, he was obviously, he had no friends, you know.
Incel for sure.
Yeah. He was basically went to school and stuck himself in a fucking room and never really associated with anybody. But all right. So her comment, her response to, you know, his wish to kill himself, this infuriated him that his own mother could be so nonchalant about her son killing herself. What a bitch, right? So he changed his plan of committing suicide. And now he's going to murder his mother and his sister.
Well, no, actually. I mulled it over. And then on a whim, actually, I turned it over, wrote a plan to kill both my mother and my sister, quite frankly, because that's always been a thing of mine. I'm a bit of a pervert.
Is it like a fantasy?
A little bit of a pervert.
It is, actually. So, that didn't happen. Best laid plans never work out, apparently, or at least the one scribbled on a piece of paper, because she had decided she was sick of this stuff and she was going to go send me to live with my sister again. I tried to strangle her with a cord, a ripped cord from a video game console controller. That didn't work, huh?
What was inside your thought of strangler?
She was sitting on the couch watching TV.
Okay.
That didn't work out too well. She started screaming, and so I went to her room, opened a drawer at the very bottom to the right. I pulled out a hammer. I went back in the living room, and, well, you kind of get the gist from there. And, she was out pretty quickly. Kind of tried to play dead at first, but then I finished it.
So you hit her with a hammer when she was sitting in the sofa in the living room?
No, first I tried to strangle her, and that didn't work. Right. She grabbed the cord, so I raced back into her room, grabbed the hammer, came back out, and then did it.
How many times did you hit with a hammer in the living room?
At least 20, but then she was still alive. I dragged her into the room, as you probably clearly saw, and then I kind of warmed my hands into her brain to kind of just cut it. She was still snoring.
Bro,
holy crap.
There's a lot to unpack in this little
holy
fucking
crap.
How nonchalant he is.
I stuck my hand into her brain and mangled it up a little bit so she was still snoring.
Yeah.
And that's not a snore, that's like a body response of just dying.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on that in a minute. But I mean, this guy, all right, so in his own words, he said, "It's always been a thing of mine. I'm a bit of a pervert." So meaning he's always had this fantasy about killing his mother and sister, which goes back to his psychopathy, that he didn't see his mother or sister as family members in the context of, you know, the majority of people do. He saw them as objects, like pieces of meat that he saw fit to be used, however. Another point during the clip, he states that his mother was sick of this stuff and was going to send him to live with his sister again.
Damn.
So, an obvious slap in the face, you know, in his mind, like, who does this woman think she is? You know, I'm not a fucking child to be sent around everywhere.
Yeah.
You know? So, so he snaps and he tries to strangle her with a cord from a video game controller. She starts screaming. That didn't work. So Davis ran back to her bedroom, opened a drawer, and pulled out a hammer. Went back into the living room and began bashing her in the skull at least 20 times with the hammer. She was still alive as he dragged her into the bedroom. And there, you know, as he said, he stuck his hand inside her crushed skull and tried to mash her brain because she was still snoring. Now, this is an interesting note. Like, this snoring...
That's violent.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like a Mortal Kombat fatality. Oh, my God.
So it's a natural response to death. Okay, the snoring, or in this case, it's catastrophic brain trauma. Okay, so it's been called the death snore or the death rattle, and it's basically terminal respiratory secretions. Like everything in your body is pretty much stopped working except for your last handful or breaths. So you
bodily function.
Yeah, so you're not swallowing saliva, you're not swallowing mucus, you're not clearing your throat. You just, you know.
Yeah.
So as the person is dying, the throat relaxes and the mucus and saliva build up in the throat. So as they take their last breaths, it sounds as if they're snoring like this.
You would. You would. You're really painting the picture here on.
That's when you reached in and grabbed the brain?
Yeah, I kicked at it a bit. Then I just, that was kind of silly, but then I just decided to reach in and kind of just do it.
So he would later tell detectives that her brain felt like putty. And even though he originally told detectives that he didn't use a knife on his mother, Davis did grab a knife and stuck it inside his mother's skull as his first attempt to scramble her brains.
Damn, Dave, you really had to add the audio of somebody taking their last breath. Dude, you're really painting the picture here at Criminal AF. I like it.
We're thorough.
I like it. Dude, that's probably that's like a perfect description of just blind rage. To just stick your hand in an open skull and just mangle it up. That is just
that's like
you can almost paint that picture. You can see him doing it out of just pure anger.
Right.
Holy shit.
Well, I think at this point, I mean, it's a cross between anger and curiosity, I think.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, there's her brain hanging out of her fucking head. Let me grab it and mush it around, and it's like whatever. All right, so this is where they talk about the knife.
And there was some blood in the knife, but you said you never used it? I guess just blood just from where you grabbed it around the...
Oh, that knife. Actually, I used that to stir her brains up a little, and that didn't really work out, so I just
that one.
decided to delve on in.
Did you do that in the living room or the bedroom? Because we found that it wasn't in the bedroom.
I may have started out. Yeah, actually, I used a knife in the living room, and then didn't I take it with me?
So her brains were already kind of coming out in the living room when you dragged her?
Yes, but she was still snoring like a baby, and so I just kind of dragged her.
This dude, wow. All right. So now what happens next takes this already disturbing murder to a whole other level.
But wait, there's more.
There's more. When detectives asked Davis what he did after this, he matter-of-factly replied,
Then I had sex with her corpse.
You did? Did you come inside?
So not.
I did, actually.
Have you ever done that before, like that sex with her?
No, I haven't, actually.
This is just the first time?
Oh, yeah, I lost my virginity to a corpse.
Okay. Did you change in the bathroom?
I did. I took a bath before then. My penis really, well, that's a little personal, but yeah, I needed to clean it off, and so, and then I changed. Yeah.
Okay.
Bro.
So nonchalant.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my penis was a little dirty.
Yeah.
I had that corpse dick.
Yeah. Had my...
Oh, dude, you can't even say it.
No, I'm not going to say it.
If everybody watched, I'm sitting here. He went. I know what he was going to say, and he just gave up. Like he looked defeated when he was going to say it. Holy crap!
Oh, this is horrible. Oh, this is awful. So Davis had told detectives that he's had violent thoughts since his preteens, and the idea of killing his mother and sister had been in his head for quite a while.
How about your sister? What's your sister's name?
Desiree Hill.
Is she okay?
She is okay. Yeah.
Okay. Where does she live?
At an apartment actually very near here. That big kind of Hispanic thing, like Spanish-looking building. Mm-hmm. It's an old apartment complex with a code.
Was it a fantasy of yours to kill her as well?
It was.
Did you write down that on your notes?
Oh, I did, actually, but I decided against it because, well, I had my fill of killing, and I didn't. Seemed a little much. Mm-hmm. A little too excessive, yeah.
I had my fill.
Wow.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is what we call post-nut clarity. Guys, you know what I'm talking about.
Get off of me.
Yeah. So, your hormones are raging. It makes you think and do things that you wouldn't normally do. And then once you nut, you're like, shit. What the fuck did I do?
What the fuck happened?
Fuck, I wish I didn't do that.
You paused the porn in this front. Like,
yeah.
Oh, what did you look back up? You're like, God damn, what the fuck is wrong with me?
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that's definitely post-nut clarity. So if he would have not ran away, if he just would have hung around or whatever, eventually those hormones would have came back and he probably would have finished the deal. So now instead of killing his sister Desiree, he did leave her a note to mess with her head.
How many notes did you write?
3.
There was one in the living room.
Yeah.
That one was addressed to who?
Desiree, my sister, because I knew she's a good girl, but rather sensitive. I knew she would lose her head if she kind of saw that.
Do you remember what the note said?
Keep your head hurry. She might still be alive, although I highly doubt it in parentheses. Something along those lines. Yeah, sincerely.
But when you wrote the note, you knew your mom was already dead?
Oh, yeah, I knew it. You know,
so you're just messing with Desiree by writing that she might still be alive?
Yeah, my sick sense of humor. Okay. I was pretty well off my rocker by then.
You think? All right, so he's leaving one to taunt the police. He left another to taunt his sister. Like, hurry, she might still be alive. Probably not. Ha ha ha.
Knowing damn well that she's...
Oh, yeah, that her brains are scrambled outside of her fucking skull. Yeah. A short time later, Kevin wrote the other note, this daring the police to chase him. He describes himself as being in a playful mood at this point, and this is when he decided to make a run and ultimately ended up at Timothy Johnson's house.
And then there's a second note in your mom's bedroom. What did that one say? Do you remember?
Chase me.
Was that addressed to the police or?
I was in a very playful mood at the time.
This guy's out here new boo goofing.
Just wanted to see how far
he just got laid, you know. He's feeling good. He's in a good mood.
So Jesus. Your plan was to leave town?
The lack of emotion.
Yeah.
So what, according to one of the notes that you wrote?
Oh, yeah, actually, the Greyhound bus. I was going to try to get out of the state or anything, really.
But I guess something else happened. You ended up at somebody's house.
I told you my plan was foiled because she talked to me. She said my sister's going to come pick me up now, like in a few minutes, go live with her, and that's when I said it's time to act, now or never.
I see.
I just went over to their house to use their phone, and then I was using their phone, so I thought I might as well tell them when they asked me questions. I mean, they had questions on using their phone.
Where was this at? Where did you end up at?
Ultimately, I ended up in the backwoods of a ditch.
Here in town or out of town?
Rhodes.Town.
In Rhodes.Town. How did you get over there?
In Corpus Christi, I biked halfway, and then I got to the train tracks, and then I ditched the bike in the thick woods, and then from the train tracks, I just walked.
To Rhodes.Town?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you came up to was it like the first house that you saw, or how did you go to this house to ask to use the phone?
Initially, my plan was just to run as far as I can, but then I ended up crying my eyes out in like the thick woods,
shit.
like, what did I do? And I realized, you don't know what you lost till you've already lost it. And so I
sounds so fucking fake.
Yeah, it is.
I knew that my life wasn't going to go anywhere, not anymore. So I just kind of gave it up midway.
Yeah, what he says later just basically just
throwing out Hallmark greeting cards, statements that like the most generic.
Right. Like, what am I supposed to say in this situation? Yeah. Oh, this is what I'll say.
You don't know what you have until it's gone.
Yeah. So like we thought, Davis claimed in a statement that he cried his eyes out, like, oh, what did I do? Yeah, bull fucking shit, because he totally contradicts himself in this next clip.
You feel sorry you did this to your mom?
In a way, yes, but I wouldn't take back what I did. It's strange, really. I did love her. In a way.
Yeah, in a way. Okay.
In a way.
In a way, enough to have sex with her. Now, as investigators, you need to try to establish a motive. And right now, the motive is Kimberly Hill didn't seem to care that Davis was going to kill himself and threatened to send him to live with his sister. But you want to try and paint a bigger picture. Like, was she physically abusive? Did she emotionally emasculate him as a child? Like, what did she do to drive her son to this drastic and horrific decision? In short, apparently nothing.
Did she be mean to you?
Oh, no. She's been the best mother.
Okay, so she is nothing that she did?
Oh, absolutely nothing. No.
If I was to ask you, what did she do to deserve this, what would you answer?
Absolutely nothing. I'm a cruel, disgusting person.
How did you come up with the idea to kill her and have sex with her?
How did I come up with it?
Yeah, was it?
It's been a developing idea in my brain.
But you haven't gotten ideas from games or videos, or you're not into some of those dark games?
Some things inspired me, but they did not necessarily plant the seed. You get me? They didn't plant the seed, but they did egg me on, rather, I guess.
Is that the books you've been reading?
Not necessarily. I watched them. I recently got into watching some foreign movies, creepy stuff, not necessarily mainstream horror, the kind of stuff that you keep away from. Despite how I ended her life, I'm kind of more fascinated by the more artistic ways of murder, the meticulous manner, the way they cut them open, just sliced them to pieces. I mean, such care, such love. And
what the fuck? But see, like, listening to his interview, you can tell. I'll argue that even the whole seed that he planted in the beginning about, oh, she didn't care that I wanted to kill my. That's all made up too.
Right.
He just added that because I mean, he's trying to, like, you can see the sociopath in him where he's trying to like make it. But he's changing his story. So
right. Yeah. He's basically telling the detectives a story, which is matter of fact, but when it comes to him. He's telling them what he thinks they want to hear.
Yeah, you can tell it's all just he's going through a checklist.
Right, but he actually let it slip out a couple of times. This has been on his mind for a long fucking time.
Slice them up with love.
With love.
That is terrifying.
Now, so this leads us to another discussion. We're gonna break off just a second. Now, do you believe that video games and movies corrupt a young mind into committing murder? I mean, like, you've talked about growing up with the internet and watching cartel videos and snuff films when you were younger, but you've never murdered any. Well, not that I know of. You never killed anybody.
Not that you know of.
No, you do have Mohegan Park.
I know what you're saying, though. Unfiltered access to the internet at 10 years old is a wild thing.
Yeah.
And, I think he actually said it. It definitely sparks interest, but it doesn't. It's not planting seeds.
It's not what drives you.
But you're definitely interested.
So it's not like the 80s. Remember? Well, no, you don't remember.
Faces of Death?
Well, no. There was this huge thing in the 80s where Metallica. And,
that's all bullshit.
They're like, oh, they got subliminal messages to commit suicide and blah, 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 you know what I mean? They tried to shut the whole fucking thing down.
A lot of this is people blaming something that's not just like he's doing.
Right.
Like, with the whole suicide thing, it's people will claim they don't
accept accountability for themselves.
Yeah, video games made me do it, or music made me do it. That's not really the case. They're just trying to take the blame off themselves.
Right. Lack of self accountability.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, when I first looked at this case, I viewed it as a reverse Ed Kemper. Like, Kemper went on a killing spree before he
your boy
killed. Yeah, this is my boy. Before he killed his mother, and Davis actually started with his mother. You know what I mean? And the more I dove into this, the more it became apparent that Davis, this kid would not have stopped at his mother. You know what I mean? Like, he lived in a fucking fantasy world where killing, dismembering, necrophilia, they all played vital roles in these fantasies.
Yeah, if you look at the countless sons who killed their mom, they don't desecrate bodies. Right. It's more of an anger thing, and it's quick and painless. I'm not talking about serial killers. I'm just saying when you hear about those stories that have gone viral.
Yeah, what's that kid's name?
They shoot him. They usually just shoot him and it's over.
The one that talks like this. He was 15 and he killed his mother.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know.
Beat him with a baseball bat or something. He talks like this.
But I
can't fucking think of his name.
There's definitely levels to this shit, right?
Yeah.
And
he just went off and fucking beat her and left.
The fact that he mutilated her body and had sex with it, dude, this kid is twisted from
next level.
Yeah.
Next level.
So that brings me back to what you were saying about Timothy Johnson not being home.
Right.
Was he really? Because he's going to say, I just wanted to use his phone, but who knows?
Because, I mean, let's backtrack a little bit. Now, we talked about post-nut clarity. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He just killed his mother. He had sex with her. In this interview, he admitted to coming inside of his mother, and hence why he had to go wash his penis, because it was all dirty.
Not to be too graphic.
Not to be too graphic, yeah.
Not after what they walked into, but,
right. So a normal guy, a normal, healthy man, if they nut at, say, 8 o'clock at night, they're ready to go by the next morning.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Davis, he killed his mother, had sex with her, nutted, whatever, runs away. I'm in a playful mood. I'm going to fucking run away.
New boot goofing.
Right. So now the morning comes. Post-nut clarity has fucking worn off. He's a fucking psychopath.
He just committed the thing that has been his fantasy for the longest time.
Right.
So he's
got an itch for it.
He got an itch for it.
Right. So now he, like you said, he shows up at Timothy Johnson's house, and if he wasn't home, what the fuck would he have done? You know what I mean?
He might have got that itch again for sure.
Oh, 100%. All right, so like we were talking about, he has this fucking wild fantasy world that he lives in, killing, dismembering, necrophilia. They all played vital roles in this shit, and he talks about it a little bit here.
You still feel like you're done with your mom. You still feel like you want to keep on killing? To keep on, the other fantasies?
I came here to pay for my crime, so I guess I should continue with the truth. Mm-hmm. Truthfully.
Yes, definitely.
I would kill again.
What else you think you want to
Bingo.
Oh, no, rather, men aren't my thing, actually.
Women.
Yeah, that post on
You have a
Clarity when he
girlfriend?
got to the door and he saw Johnson.
Yeah.
He was like, "Ah,
Yeah, men aren't my thing.
damn,
Yeah.
you just ruined
I
my
don't.
boner."
I've never had a girl.
I tell you what, give me your fancy of killing a woman. What would your fancy killing would be? Your ace killing, what would that be?
This is a little peculiar. I'm on camera. Okay, maybe dressing up in a nice suit, sneaking into her house, disabling her boyfriend. I'd bring a pretty dress with me to dress her up in.
Dude,
This is not something you just pull off the top of your head.
No,
This
and-
is something you've been thinking about for years.
I'm trying to think of like in a defense lawyer's aspect in this interview, and I'm
Yeah.
like, dude, you're saying the wrong shit. Shut the
Yeah,
fuck up.
shut
Like,
the
what are
fuck
you
up.
doing? You're literally you're giving the motive that you're fucking lock them up for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I was always into strangling, but after that last blunder, I guess maybe something big and sharp would be more along my thing.
So it's kind of key to point out, strangling is very personal. It's up close.
Yeah.
You're
feeling that last breath.
Right. So I think for him to have this fantasy for all these years about strangling a woman and then it not being successful kind of threw him off.
Yeah.
Maybe angered him a little bit, which is why
you didn't give me my thing.
Right, which probably sent him in a fucking rage and resulted in his mother getting her fucking head bashed in,
Yeah.
I could, I don't know, probably decapitate her, as I prefer my women dead.
Jesus Christ.
I'd dress her up, I'd stitch her up, kind of try to work the head back on, perhaps.
Okay, he would chop her head off. Well, he would dress her up in a dress, chop her head off, stitch her head back on.
Put her in a nice dress.
Yeah.
And have a beautiful romantic dinner together.
Then I'd go to town and it would be a night to remember.
What?
Wow, bro.
Fuck? Dave, what are you bringing? Why are you bringing me these stories, dude?
Burn everything and run for the hills.
Burn everything and run for the hills. Well, I mean, hey. All right.
Holy shit.
The
guy just literally reenacted his perfect murder.
Yep.
To the fucking detective.
Oh, yeah, this has been something on his brain for years. Years and years and years. All right, so before the interview ended, this is where it's going to get... this is going to get good. Before the interview ended, the detectives, they wanted to clarify what Davis meant by saying he lost his virginity to a corpse. Like, were there others? But, I'm going to let this clip play out. And what we learn, his mother was, in fact, not the first dead body that Davis has had sex with. This is fucking wild.
You mentioned that you lost your virginity to a corpse.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? What happened?
Oh, well, just last night, my mother, yeah.
Okay, not somebody else. You're talking about your mom.
Yes.
Okay, so before that you had never had sex?
Here it is.
Well, I guess since I'm being quiet about it, I might as well tell you now. And it's on the note too, the PS part. We used to have a gray cat named Claire. Oh yeah, bestiality is a thing of mine too. Now you know. And so I strangled it, I drowned it, and then I cut it open, and you know the rest. I get the rest.
You had sex with a cat, a dead cat.
Yeah, ripped it open, stuck it in there. Yeah.
Ripped it open and stuck it in there.
So that your thing, having sex with a live person, that doesn't turn you on. It's dead thing, dead person, dead animals. That's what turns you on.
I don't necessarily mind. I don't have standards or morals. Body's a body, and in the end, it's a piece of meat. I guess it's harsh to say, but no, I don't necessarily mind.
Dude.
I'm speechless.
What the fuck? Like, okay, now this just brings up.
This kid is a complete lunatic, and thank God he. I mean, it's sad about his mother, but at least he wasn't out there for like. You know what I mean? Like he wasn't a predator for years and rack up those bodies, and because this is clearly was going to turn into a 10+
absolutely
murderer.
100%. So it kind of like brings it back to like, when he told his mother that he was going to kill himself, and she's just like, sorry, whatever.
That's what maybe she should have been like, yeah, do it.
Right.
Holy
Right, because I'm sure, like, and we talked about what led up to this. Like what experiences did the mother have with this dude where she come to the point and be like, hey, you do it. It is what it is. Obviously, the mother must have known that fucking Mr. fucking Mittens fucking disappeared. And you know what I mean?
Oh, man.
Like, what happened to Mr. Mittens? And I don't know.
Holy.
So there's been signs. There's definitely been signs.
Yeah, now this whole thing makes sense in the beginning of the story too. Once you get this far down.
Yep. So initially, Kevin Davis, he pled not guilty to the charges, even though he had fully confessed to the murder. This is possibly to use as an insanity defense, even though he told detectives that he was 100% sane.
Did you ever tell anybody else what your plans were? That what you wanted to do, your mom or your sister?
No, but over the years, there were hints. As a younger boy, I was a lot dumber, a lot more angsty, I said things, but I guess they basically brushed it off. I guess the hints were everywhere, but they're my family. Family looks past that kind of stuff, or they try to not look at it, I guess. I'm not mentally disturbed. I mean, I'm sane. I know exactly what I did. I know that it's wrong.
Back again, the defensive lawyer in me is like,
shut the fuck up. It was just a fantasy you had, and you had to carry it out.
Yeah.
Not yet.
Now I feel vaguely, kind of like I'm done.
You know what's so interesting?
Yeah.
I'm like, also if you look at it for like we were just saying, like I'm like, yo, shut up. But at the same time, this is right here with him and that detective. This is years and years of needed therapy.
Right.
Expressed. He already committed the crime. He knows he's done for life. Yeah. So he's probably held on to this for so long. So it probably feels amazing to him to just talk about a little bit that's going on in his mind. So like the average person's like, yo, what the fuck? What are you doing? Yeah. But at the same time, you can see where he needs to get this off. He's talked to nobody about these things ever.
I know, and now these like, and this is like a whole thing with like psychopaths and all that, serial killers, whatever. Like once they get caught and they start like spilling, it's almost like you do it to get the reaction off of something. You know what I mean? So if you're talking about fucking ripping a cat open and sticking your dick inside of it, you know what I mean? It's kind of like you're reliving the moment. But also you're feeding off of that
crazy energy.
Right. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense, but
yeah, no, I mean what you're saying. You're getting that person's reaction and you're like, yeah,
you like that, right?
You like that, right?
I do it sometimes. I say fucked up shit just to get people's reactions.
I know you do.
All right, so a psychiatrist evaluated Davis and determined that he did have an antisocial personality disorder. However, the doctor also added that Kevin knew full well the difference between right and wrong when he killed his mother, and so there was no medical reasoning or explanation behind his actions. During the trial, the defense called no witnesses, and eventually Davis ended up changing his plea to guilty, because you were. On October 8th, 2014, the jury had to decide Davis's fate. The death penalty was not an option in this case because the crime was not considered capital murder. I thought Texas killed everybody.
I know. I was going to say this is strange because I thought for sure Texas would be like,
Texas and Florida, they just like,
they're like death penalty.
Oh, you stole that Snickers? Yeah,
death penalty.
Fucking, you're dead.
Yeah, I'm surprised Texas and Florida haven't gone back to like you steal something, they limp your hand off. They take
in the town square, they just chop your fucking hand off. So it took the jury less than an hour to come back with
guilty,
with the possibility of parole.
What?
Yes, with the possibility of parole. Go figure. So he will actually be eligible for parole in 2044.
Ladies, I'm coming for you.
And he'll be
everybody
primed
lock your doors, get your pistol permits ready.
He'll be primed and ready.
Oh no.
Right.
I guarantee you when his parole hearing comes up, a judge isn't going to let this guy
no he'll never, especially when he's like, oh yeah, I'll definitely fucking kill again. 100%. All right, so that'll do it for Kevin Davis, the motherfucking virgin.
That's so good.
Criminal,
The motherfucking virgin.
Wait,
you know how like people say, oh, like I'm a virgin and a half. The cat counts as like a half. You know how like you're like, oh, I got the tip in, so I can't say I'm a virgin, but like, the cat counts.
Well, yeah. So he's a
motherfucking virgin and a half.
He's a motherfucking virgin.
Sorry, go ahead, keep going. End the episode. I'm sorry.
He's a cat fucking virgin.
No, because it's not. You got your virginity is with a person, even if it is your dead mother. Yeah,
you can't claim losing your virginity to a goat.
No, you can't. Can you claim it to a pillow or an apple pie? No.
I got a point.
Well, those aren't living things. But
actually, you know what? Leave this in the Spotify comments. Let us know.
Yeah,
losing your virginity, does it count if it's an animal, a pillow, or? Let us know what it is.
Jesus Christ. Our Spotify comments. We're not getting monetized for shit, Dave.
No, fuck it. Hey, we're having a good time.
Exactly.
We're having a good time. All right, so if you found what you heard was interesting.
Thank you. Dave bringing the best stories here on Corona.
Go to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts, and leave us a review or comment. Don't forget, comment. How do you lose your virginity?
Place, time.
Place, time.
Where?
With a goat, cow.
Cat.
Filleted cat.
All right, go ahead. Keep going.
A fish. Actually, but this brings it up. Did you ever go to a petting zoo?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, and you know how you can
where is this going?
You can feed the baby goats the bottle.
Yep.
And there's on the fuck.
Yeah.
Did you ever think?
No, stop.
No,
dude,
you never thought that?
No.
At least cross your mind once.
Of course, it crosses your mind. You're like, ugh. The goat's just lipping. He's just lipping.
Yeah,
he's like mowing around.
All right, that just went a step too far. All right. All right, so
oh no!
Don't forget, you can become one of the debauched by joining our Patreon for as little as $2 a month for general support. Everyone gets ad-free episodes and access to our Discord. Those who join the $5 tier or above get all of our Audible video downloadable content, and for the higher tiers, you get all of this plus some goodies and producer credits. Just go to
criminalasfuck.com,
where you can find the links to our support, socials, merchandise, reviews, and more. Take us out, Garrett.
Signing off from Studio Chloroform. Keep your head on a swivel and stay safe till next time.
See ya. Now give me our theme music. Executive producers for this episode are Christine Rivera, Beth Davis, Dusty J. Hicks, and Terri Burke-Wolin. Associate producers are Paul Hodge, Tara Mazur, Shantal Daggett, Jay from Fright Flick FMK, Cherise Webb, Kori Cribbs, Donny Blake, and Jared Rhodes. Producers are J.D., Trent Gobble, Devin Dean, Ashlee O'Connor, Lissa Porrello, Alicia Knight, Maria Saline, Chris Owen, Not That Chad, Emily White, Ian Turner, Emily Dickendasher, Debbie from True Crime University, Jeanette LeBlanc, and Renee Prada. Intro and outro music by David Mercurio. Be sure to follow Criminal AF on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, X, and YouTube. Check out all of our merch and many other items at debaucheddesigns.com.